Okay, so we have our color illustrator tools here going. Will you be able to see everything if I do that? Good, great. Okay, so the first thing is create a square filled with your favorite hue. So remember, to create a square, you're going to click on the rectangle tool. And when you're pulling it out, you're going to hold Shift. So right now, my square has a black outline, black stroke. And I can tell this because I'm looking down at my little color picker down here. And I have a white fill. White is not my favorite hue. My favorite hue is red-orange. So what you're going to do is click on the fill, double click on it, and up pops your color picker. So this guy right here, this bar, this rainbow bar, is where you choose your hue. So I'm going up to like red-orange. Let's see, I think it's actually probably down here. But that's not all that you have to do, because as you can see, this is still all white, which means that's what our color is. So then you have to choose from over here, and this is where we get our value. So the highest saturation, the most pure version of our color, is going to be in the top right corner. And as you can see, when I click on that, the top of this becomes orange. And all of these values in our color picker has changed. So the hex code, for example, of this color, of this hue, is F74608. If I choose a different hue, if I go a little darker, if I choose a different value, like darker and less saturated, all of these values are going to change again. So you can pick your color from anywhere on here. First you go to the hue, so blue, and then you choose your saturation and your value. So how pure is the color? And then the top of the rectangle in the corner is going to show you what color is happening. So I'll give you a minute to choose a hue. And I'm not going to know if it's actually your favorite hue, so don't break your brain over it. But it says create a square filled with your favorite hue and give the CMYK value. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. At 9:15. It's 9:14. Oh, it's 9:15. So does everyone have a hue selected? Okay, my CMYK value is on the far end, the far edge, and on the right. So I'm 20% C, 96% M, 0Y, 0K. You could screenshot that if you want, or you could enter it. I'm going to show you how to make text boxes in a minute. So I'm going to press OK. Beautiful. To type things out, there's a little type tool. This is the T. Don't worry, we're going to spend a lot of time messing with the type tool eventually. But for now, this is how you put text into something. You just grab the T, click and release. Something that says Lorem Ipsum will pop up. That is placeholder font. So I'm going to say C 20%, M 96%, Y 0, K 0. So there's my CMYK. If you forget what yours is, you can always click on your square again, double click on your color picker, and you will find that information. Next, we're going to make a circle filled with the complementary color to your favorite hue. So a circle is click and hold on the rectangle tool and grab an ellipse. Pull out an ellipse holding Shift, and it will fill with the same color that you had as a fill before. So I could look on the color wheel and determine what's complementary color is directly across. I could do that, but the cool thing about Adobe, well, there's a billion things, but they have done so much color theory work for you. So we can actually easily find the complement through a drop-down menu. So to do that, you're going to go to Window and Color Guide. And you'll see a little window that pulls up with a bunch of swatches, a bunch of little choices. So the middle, right now, I can tell that my color guide is based on my color right now because it's in this little square right here. So I have shades of this, I have tints of this. And if you click the drop-down menu in Color Guide, boop, you'll see there's a bunch of different color relationships, but the top one is complementary. So if you click on complementary, and then I click on, look at that, yellow-green. This is the exact opposite color of my favorite hue. Anyone need help with that? Okay. Now we're going to do something crazy. We are going to create a value scale with our favorite hue. So we're going to grab a rectangle again. Make a tall, skinny rectangle. Sort of like that. Then press V, so we're back on our selection tool. Click and drag on that rectangle while holding Option, which means you're going to make another one. And I want you to make 5 of those rectangles. If they aren't perfectly lined up, don't worry, I'm going to show you a really cool thing. We're using all sorts of tools today. Doesn't matter what hue they're filled with right now, we're going to work on that. But you want 5 rectangles in this last part. You'll probably notice when you're pulling stuff out that there's like smart guides, so it will tell you when they're aligned. Illustrator also has a super sweet align tool, so we're going to do that real quick. So highlight all 5 of those rectangles. There's 2 ways of doing that. First, you could click and drag so that a rectangle goes over all of them. Or you can click and then hold Shift and click on all of them in that way. And once all 4 are selected, you'll see this like little alignment tool comes up in the top. Align means having things like arranged in order to center. So I am going to press vertical align center, which means all of my center points are going to be the same. They probably already were. And I'm also going to press horizontal distribute center, which means they will be perfectly evenly spaced. So that just moved them a little bit. But it's weirdly very pleasing, in my opinion. So now you will choose your middle rectangle, go up to your color guide, which should still be open, and choose your favorite hue from it. So that means your middle rectangle will be your favorite hue. The 2 rectangles to the right, I want you to fill with tints. Remember, tints are highlights or lighter versions. Doesn't matter. There should be tints already selected for you in color guide. And the 2 rectangles to the left, I want you to choose shades. Oops. The color guide makes this super easy. Alternatively, you could always double click on your fill and select tints and shades from in here, if you don't like the ones that Color Guide has provided you. So what we've just created here are geometric shapes. They're easily named, easily recreated. There are tools to create them in Illustrator. Now we're going to make 2 organic lines. You can do that in 2 different ways. You can use the pen tool and click and drag to make curves, or you can use the paintbrush tool and make a scribble. I'm going to do the paintbrush tool. So organic lines are lines that are not straight. Make 2 organic lines. So far we've been working with fill. Fill means the inside of a shape, and a shape is closed. Lines are not closed. So what we need to work with when we're working with lines is stroke. So you can click your stroke. Well, first you'll have to press V and select one of your lines. Double click on your stroke and choose a hue. It can be the same one that you've been working with, or you could use a different one. And the first one you choose is going to be high saturation, which means we're going to be all the way to the top right of this box. That means it's the most intense, most pure version of this color. Now you think, uh-oh, how am I going to be able to get that same hue on this line? Well, I'll give you a couple different ways. First, you can use the eyedropper tool. If you press the letter I, you can suck up the orange, or, well, mine's orange, whatever color you used. You can use the eyedropper tool. If it's a color you think you're going to want to use a lot, or that you want to save, what I recommend doing is making a swatch. So if you open Windows, oops, not that, and go to Swatches. Swatches are our little pre-made color things. So I just opened the Swatches window. And if it's a hue that I think I'm going to want to save, I can drag it right over to the swatches, and now it's saved for me. So now I can always get this. So this prompt says create 2 organic lines. You already did that. One high saturation. You already did that. And the other low saturation of the same hue. So to make this low saturation, double click on your stroke, and you're just going to drag your color picker somewhere away from the top corner. As it goes diagonally to the bottom left corner, you get less and less saturated. Dull, washed out. Ew, yucky. Oh, yeah, that thing is horrible. So that is yeah, we don't like that. So we're going to go to View and take the perspective. We don't want the perspective. I don't know how that happens, but.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, now we're going to make how's everybody doing? The ones I can see look good, but I can't see everyone. All right, now we're going to create a six-sided shape. Well, you can do that two ways. Pen tool, make a shape with six sides. I like the polygon tool because it's sort of fun. So the polygon tool is nested underneath the rectangle tool. And if you click and release, you can choose how many sides you want, or you can pull the shape out and press the up and down arrow until you get to 6. 4, 5, 6. So this says create a six-sided shape with a cool colored stroke and a warm colored fill. Remember, cool colors are green, blue, purple. Warm colors are red, orange, yellow. So your fill and stroke are over here, bottom left. So you want a cool colored stroke and a warm colored fill. Oops. If you want to make your stroke wider, you can always change the points on stroke up at the top. Now we're going to create an organic shape filled with a neutral color. So we have not had practice making organic shapes yet, really. So here's a tiny bit of practice. Grab a pen tool. It will be the same stroke and fill as the previous shape that you made. Click and drag. Click and drag. Click and drag. And remember, in order to make this a shape, it has to connect back with its own end. If you want the handles to behave differently, you can hold Option. So create an organic shape filled with a neutral color. Remember, neutral are colors that are not on the color wheel. Oh, we didn't do our Kahoot. Dang it. We'll do it tomorrow. You'll find pretty quickly that warm colors, as they lose saturation, become neutral. Especially like orangey. Ooh, yucky. Ooh, ugh. But if you don't like choosing from the color picker, you can always go to your swatches. There are some browns in there. And down at the bottom of your swatch library, at the bottom left, it says, at the bottom of your swatch, it says Swatch Libraries menu. You can choose, they have all these different libraries of colors, earth tone. And if you like any of them, you can always click the little file next to them and it'll put it in your swatches. Kids stuff. Babies. It looks a little bit more like. Now's the thing that everybody likes to do. Gradients, because they're so fun. Grab yourself a rectangle. Analogous colors are colors next to each other on the color wheel. So what we're going to do, open up your swatches window. You'll see that there's already some gradients in there. Please don't use this orange to yellow one, even though this is analogous colors. I mean, you can select it right now, but you have to change it. So grab the gradient. Either that one or the black and white one is fine. And then you're going to click on your gradient tool. So that is like a little faded rectangle, or you can just go to Windows and Gradient. So what we see now are the different, each of these little circles on the gradient are called a color stop. So each one of those is a different hue that has been added to the gradient. To get rid of a hue, click on it and pull it away. Boop. So now I've gone from having 5 colors in the gradient to having the gradient only yellow to red. To change colors in the gradient, you can double click on each of the any stop, and change it there. If you find that you want to add a stop, you can just click right below. So I'm going to let you play around with gradient for a little bit. You can even, if you want to like make more gradients, if you want to make yourself another artboard and play with gradients more, you're welcome to. I'm going to give you like 5 minutes on gradient to get a gradient of analogous colors. Again, those are colors next to each other on the color wheel. So if you need to look at your color wheel, go ahead.